we are recording this session. I also have closed captioning enabled, which you can toggle on and off at the bottom of your screen. This is an automated service, so there might be errors in the Zoom. So I just want to be sure that you are aware of that. Please use the chat if you're having any technical issues or if you have any questions. I'm just going to monitor the chat for any questions. We also have a Q&A box, and that's fine as well. I want to sincerely thank our speaker today, Samantha Paschke, for agreeing to do this special class for us just for Howard County Library System. I will be putting in the chat lots of great links for the Better Business Bureau of Greater Maryland, and we will be posting this class online as well. Before I get started introducing Samantha, let me go ahead and do some promo for some of our other awesome classes at the library. I will put links to these in the chat as well. We have a business roundtable coming up with Elias Castillo, co-founder of Trifecta Bar, and that will be September 28th at 7 p.m. That's part of our regular series of local business owner roundtables, and I highly recommend it. The other fantastic event we have coming up is Saturday, October 2nd at the East Columbia branch. That is our 5-star showcase. It's Saturday, October 2nd from 2 to 5 p.m. We're going to have all kinds of great activities for families. And I've seen a lot of the stuff that people are working on for this. And I can tell you it's going to be a lot of fun, and definitely plan on coming out for that. So to get started with our actual presentation, again, we are here to learn about employment scams with Samantha Paschke, who is the Manager of Operations and Community Outreach at the Better Business Bureau of Greater Maryland. She's been working in nonprofits for nearly a decade and at Better Business Bureau for the past 5 years, where she leads the team that delivers core services for Better Business Bureau's dispute resolution, investigations, and community outreach. She graduated from University of Rochester and is a long-time passionate advocate of trust in the marketplace. During her time at University of Rochester, she interned at the New York State Attorney General's Consumer Protection Division and at the New York State Division of Human Rights. She lives locally with her husband and her tabby cat named, Tabby. I just love that.
Creative, so, I know.
Yes, wonderful. So again, welcome everyone, and thank you so much, Samantha. I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And I'm really happy to be presenting here today for the Howard County Library System. This presentation today is going to be about employment scams. They are on the rise. They are the #1 riskiest scam, according to Better Business Bureau. Better Business Bureau conducted a study in 2020 that really focused in on employment scams. And today we want to equip you with information on how employment scams are perpetrated, who's targeted by employment scams, and the overall impact of these scams, and how we can help people avoid losing money to them. So, employment scams have consistently been a risky scam that has been reported to Better Business Bureau. Based on data from BEB Scam Tracker, a Google survey we conducted in March 2020, and statistics from the World Bank, we estimate that 14 million people within the US and Canada are exposed to employment scams, with more than $2 billion lost every year to scammers. This $2 billion doesn't include the many people who work for fake jobs without being paid, and the costs and risks of losing your identity or personal information, nor the emotional toll of going through a scam, and that can be really significant. At BBB, we believe in a fair and honest marketplace where businesses and consumers work together to trust in one another. Employment scams undermine and erode that trust, and it hurts not just consumers, but it also hurts legitimate employers who are seeking to find qualified candidates to join their team. We offer a number of free resources, including BBB Scam Tracker, which I'll talk about a little bit more, and BBB Business Profiles, so where you can look up a business and check if they're legitimate, check their rating, look at their complaints, and that can help you avoid scams and find businesses you can trust. So Scam Tracker, Better Business Bureau, we created this in 2015. It's an interactive crowdsourced tool. The tool allows consumers to report scams that they've encountered. It allows us, as well as government and law enforcement officials, to track and expose scams and gain insight into scammers' techniques. We share this information on the website, bbb.org/scam tracker, with an interactive heat map, and you can actually zoom in on your local community to see which scams are affecting you. So you can just type in your zip code and it'll bring anything up. A 2020 study of BBB Scam Tracker users found that a lot of people use this tool to just see what scams are happening, and it actually helped nearly 22% of people avoid losing money to a scam. So in this chart, we look at the exposure, the susceptibility, and the median dollar loss for employment scams. And I'll explain that a little bit. So at BBB, we assess scams based on this unique BBB risk index, which is comprised of those three factors. So exposure is like the volume of reports. How many people report experiencing or interacting with this kind of scam? Susceptibility is the likelihood of falling victim and actually losing money to the scam. And then we also look at the median dollar lost for each scam. You can see the 5-year trends of employment scams on this chart. The first chart shows that employment scams are on the rise at between 8 and 9% of all scam reports to the BBB in the last few years. Susceptibility has also remained high. It's at 17% currently. And the median dollar loss over the last few years has hovered around $1,000. This is just the money that's sent to a scammer. It doesn't include any lost wages, time and anguish, or damages from losing your identity or personal information, which are actually things that scammers are looking for because that can be really valuable to them. We also wanted to know more about this top risky scam. So we surveyed over 10,000 people in the US and Canada in April of 2020. Those people had filed a report in BBB Scam Tracker about an employment scam between 2017 and 2020. Then BBB used the findings from that study combined with the BBB Scam Tracker data to compile an employment scams report. And that's what a lot of this information today is going to come from. So how do the scams start? In 80% of the cases, contact was initiated by the scammer, often by text or email. We're seeing text message used in scams so much more frequently lately. It's becoming a major way that scammers use to get to victims. The scammer will say things like they saw the victim's resume on a legitimate job site, or they might ask the person if they're interested in applying for a job to make some quick or easy money, usually from the convenience of your home. And that's why we're going to go into depth on a lot of the tactics that are used by scammers, because more and more jobs are legitimately from home, right? And so we need to be able to weed out the ones that are legitimately from home versus the ones that aren't, and that can be really challenging. We also asked people why they engaged with the scammer. Most people said that they thought the job was legitimate and that they weren't aware of this kind of fraud. So these are the top impersonated job boards where respondents reported they allegedly saw the job advertised. So these fraudulent jobs could have been posted most likely to Indeed. I think that's where a lot of people go to look for jobs. So you got to be careful. LinkedIn, Facebook, Career Builder, ZipRecruiter, Craigslist. So these are all common places to look for a job, but scammers will make it look like they have a legitimate posting and post them to these job boards. In most of the cases, the victim likely didn't check if the job was really advertised or even live at the job board, but trusted the email or text received with information about the opportunity. So the opportunity might have said that it was on Indeed, but it wasn't even actually on the site. And then most who reported employment scams said that they continued to engage with the scammer because it sounded legitimate. One of the ways that scammers trick job seekers is by impersonating legitimate companies that are well known, that have a lot of employees. They'll often impersonate companies like Amazon, Walmart. But the scammers actually have zero connection to these legitimate employers. They're just using the names of brands that have consumer trust to gain the confidence of their victims. Scammers will also post these jobs on legitimate job boards, create fake job posts that appear to be hosted on legitimate employment search sites. And the fake employment opportunities were often positions with very few prerequisites or requirements to have a wide appeal to a lot of people. In fact, 65% of job offers were related to becoming a warehouse redistribution coordinator or something similar, involving the reshipment of packages. And that often contains stolen goods, which actually puts you at even more risk because it could be an illegal, you might be conducting something illegal. Scammers gain trust of their victims not just through impersonation of known employers and job boards, but they also use a really elaborate and high-touch process. So, for example, 70% of those that engaged with the scam received an actual offer letter. About half sent a resume or had a phone interview. So they're doing a lot of work to make it look legitimate. One of the most popular tactics used by scammers is also a fake check scam. So what they'll do is they'll ask you to deposit a check and transfer funds to another account before they realize that the original check is bad. So 36% of those who reported employment scams said that they received a fake check. And then scammers also use employment scams to get personally identifiable information about their victims, which can later be used for identity theft. 34% of those who reported employment scams shared a copy of their driver's license, and 26% provided their social security numbers. And then additionally, for every victim that lost money, at least another one worked without pay or another one lost personal information to a scammer. So it's not just about losing money up front. There's actually doing work without pay, and then there's actually sending personal information, which can cost you in the long run. So next, what we're going to look at is who is most at risk for employment scams. And then we're going to share some prevention tips a little bit later. So in the survey, one of the first questions that BBB asked was whether people had heard of employment scams before. What we found was that those who are unfamiliar with employment scams and tactics were far more likely to lose money than those who were at least aware of employment scams. We also wanted to get a sense of people's financial situation at the time of the scam encounter. A staggering 73%, which is nearly 3/4 of those who lost money, said that they didn't have enough income to cover their monthly bills. So essentially, scammers are targeting people who are feeling desperate to dig themselves out of a bad financial situation and find a job right away, and only to be swayed by a fraudulent job offer. So it's really important, and this is true for any scam, not just employment scams, but if you're ever feeling stressed, nervous, or excited, or any kind of heightened emotion, that you take extra care when making any financial or purchasing decisions. You want to take a moment to stop, to think about the red flags, which we'll talk about some later, and check bbb.org for tips about any relevant scams. BBB also wanted to find out people's employment status and what kinds of jobs they were seeking at the time of the encounter. About half were unemployed and half were seeking full-time employment. Another 28% were seeking flexible employment, either in addition to their current job or as a main form of employment. And then also we asked participants, what was the biggest motivating factor for you to engage with this opportunity? More than half said that the number one reason was the flexibility to work from home, followed by 23% saying a higher salary and 8% seeking more flexible hours of employment. I'm going to be interested to see this data for 2021 since the pandemic has continued, and it'll be interesting to see how this shakes out. Here on this page, you can see the breakdown by age for exposure and the volume of scam reports, susceptibility, and the median loss. Those who were ages 25 to 34 reported the highest exposure to employment scams and reported being slightly more susceptible. Now, conversely, this is also consistent with many other scam types. Older consumers lose more when they fall victim to employment scams. So we see this across the board that young people are more exposed to scams, but they don't lose as much money as elderly victims. And then specifically students appear to be more susceptible at 18.1% versus non-students at 15.1% to employment scams. But student status didn't appear to have an impact on the median dollar loss. And then finally, when you assess the data by gender, women report being more exposed to employment scams, but they're slightly less susceptible and tend to lose about $300 less than when you assess median loss than men. So next we'll look at what can help prevent the employment scams, and we'll share some tips with you all. So 71% of people avoided losing money because they had a gut instinct something wasn't right. It is really important to trust your gut when you are approached with an opportunity. I like to go by the old adage, if it seems too good to be true, it probably is. I always double check if I feel like something feels too good to be true. 37% avoided losing money because they researched the scam type. And so that reinforces yet again that we know that talking more about scammer tactics will help you avoid falling victim to them. And then other factors show that seeking more information about a situation or having knowledge is critical to prevention. Of those who suspected it was a scam, about a quarter of them disengaged immediately. However, 76% of those who maybe suspected they were experiencing a scam continued to engage with the scammer anyway. 37% of survey respondents didn't suspect it was a scam until it was all over. And so I'll say something which is definitely don't continue to engage with someone if they seem like they're a scammer. I hear a lot of people saying that they answer the phone and they just want to tell the scammer off, but I wouldn't give them more time of day, and I wouldn't give them an opportunity to try to sound legitimate, because they're really good at what they do and they know how to tug on your heartstrings. So this is a really interesting finding from the survey. When targets discuss the scam with their friends or family, and those family members were supportive of engaging with the scam or what they thought was the legitimate opportunity, 47% lost money. Whereas if friends and family warned them that it might be a scam, only 16% lost money. You can read that to mean that who you talk to about the scam has a huge influence on if you lose money or not. And by learning more and sharing insights with your friends and family, you can help protect them. We also really encourage job seekers to do research via independent sources. For example, research BBB scam tracker or reach out to the impersonated entity directly. So if the job board listing says it's for Amazon, find the legitimate posting on Amazon's website. The other thing that helps prevent scams, interventions by retail employees, bank tellers, or other employees, people that you interact with that you may tell about this, that works in intervening with scams. While only 13% reported they encountered somebody who tried to intervene, 69% of those who did avoided losing money. The particular survey indicated most of the interventions occurred at banks, but we also hear from consumers all the time that an employee stopped them from buying thousands of dollars of gift cards at a convenience store. Not knowing about gift card scams, or that an employee at a wire transfer company made them think twice before wiring money to a stranger that they've never met. And then after being targeted by scammers, 71% felt that they could now spot an employment scam if approached again. 19% felt slightly more concerned, and 10% will think twice before applying for or avoid seeking new employment opportunities. There is a tip sheet on bbb.org/employment scams, and we're going to go through each of these tips now, but you can access it there and download it, print it out, give it to loved ones, but we'll go through these key tips now. Okay, so first of all, always do background research on the job offer. You want to take the time to find the job listing on the company's website directly. You want to call the legitimate business. You want to look them up on bbb.org to see if it's a legitimate company. All of the above. You just really want to do background research and take your time. You want to be wary of work from home and shipping/warehouse opportunities or secret shopper positions. 65% of fake job offers were related to becoming a warehouse redistribution coordinator or some similar title involving the reshipment of packages. You want to watch out for on-the-spot job offers. You may be an excellent candidate for the job, but you want to beware of offers made too quickly or without an interview. You also don't want to fall for a fake check scam. 36% of those who reported employment scams said they received a fake check. Be wary if the employer asks for you to deposit a check and transfer funds to another account for training or equipment or for any other reason. We hear this all the time from individuals who report locally about scams, that they were told that they needed to pay in advance for training. That if you ever have to pay up front, it's not legitimate. You want to be cautious about sharing personal information or any kind of prepayment. Like I just said, for every victim who lost money, at least another one worked for the scammer without pay and another one provided personal information. want to apologize for my numbering here. I changed this from Google to PowerPoint and it messed up my numbering. So bear with me. And then be wary of offers that seem too good to be true. Scammers promise work from home jobs, which again, some are real, but scammers might make it seem too good to be true. Higher salaries, flexible opportunities if you pay for coaching or training or certifications or directories. And if you're paying for the promise of the job, it is a scam. And then you want to be wary of vague job descriptions. In order to reach as many people as possible, scammers will list job requirements that are broad enough for anyone to qualify. And then finally, even if you do the work, it still might be a scam. 32% of those who reported employment scams said they did work before they realized it was a scam. So like, what can you do? Well, you can visit bbb.org/employment scams. There's so much more information there, and you can also pass that on to your friends and loved ones. You make a huge difference in preventing them from falling victim as well. You should share tips and stories with them. There's a huge stigma about being scammed. People are often really afraid to share it, but in almost every presentation I've ever done, someone speaks up about what they've experienced, and then it just comes rolling out that so many other people have seen the same thing or fallen victim to it too. And so there should be no shame in that. Anyone can fall victim to a scam. I can fall victim to a scam. Sometimes being self-assured can actually make you more susceptible. And then definitely report the scams to bbb.org/scam tracker. We have individuals who actually sit there and review all those reports so that we can ensure that we're monitoring them. It helps us do media alerts to our local news media. It helps government agencies track scams that are going on. And so even if you don't fall victim to it, but you like get an email, still report it to bbb.scam tracker, because that might prevent someone else who got the same email from getting scammed. And that's all I've got. Definitely connect with us. If you have encountered a scam, call us at 410-347-3990. We have a real live individual who will answer your questions and can walk you through it. You can email us, you can connect with us on social media, or go to bbb.org. Do we have any questions, Charisse?
I don't see any questions yet, but I know I have some questions.
Great.
Please use the chat, everyone, so that we know if there's any more information you would like to get from Samantha today. Can you share any stories of particular people who had been scammed? Any more, maybe anecdotal local problems that you can share? Because it might be things that other people have possibly been victimized with locally.
That's a really good question. I mean, I won't say the specific companies, I don't want to, but there's definitely been companies locally that have been spoofed before. So you definitely, just because it's a local company and you're familiar with it, doesn't mean you shouldn't check with them directly, because they could be being spoofed. And we've had companies reach out to us before to let us know that someone's out there, spoofing them and pretending to be them. And so we'll sometimes put an alert on their business profile to notify people like, hey, this company has been impersonated, and like, don't trust this, but this is the real company and this is who you should contact. Definitely seen a lot of people, I mean, a lot of the time it's hard to track down where the scammer actually is. Local victims have reported the reshipping scams that I talked about earlier. That involves essentially reshipping stolen goods. So it's crazy, because you're actually doing something, you might even get paid, but it is not legal. So and then you might also not get paid. More likely than not, you won't. So that one's a huge problem. And then other than that, I do see a lot of reports just about the big companies being impersonated, right, on job boards. So and it will often be like someone went to a major job board and applied from there, but you'll kind of notice like the spelling and grammar was off on the listing. The email address doesn't appear to be like legitimately from Amazon, for example, that they're emailing. Like Amazon has their own job board, right? So very often you'll see these listings, and if it looks off, it doesn't look like it's at the right email address, that can be a huge red flag as well.
Yeah, I would hope that these job boards are upping their game in terms of screening.
Well, and I'm sure they do. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think it's like anything on the internet. It's really challenging. These things pop up so fast. These people who are impersonating, and that it can be hard. Now, I will say recently, this wasn't in this study, but more recently we have seen specifically targeted to students. We've had some local reports about seeing fraudulent postings on job boards that are more targeted towards students, like Handshake, or like the ones that the universities use. Now they've actually been really good at shutting those down. So but it's definitely something to keep in mind, because for internships as well, that might say that they're paid not just full-time positions, but also part-time positions for students. Yeah.
Just to reiterate some of the things which I think are critical, you can click to see what the email address is, to see what the actual email address is. But there's also the issue of other things that make it look so real, like the logos from the company.
Yeah. That's a really good point. So like the actual email sometimes can look really legitimate. I get them, these like fake emails and stuff all the time. And yeah, it depending on your email client, you want to click and actually look at who's actually sending it. And if there's ever any link anywhere, text message, email, you don't want to just click it. If it's unsolicited, right? Like it's going to be very rare to get something sent to you that is not, that you didn't first reach out to someone, right? And so it's a big red flag if someone's emailing it to you and they're specifically asking you to click on something that could install malware on your computer, spyware on your computer. So they could be after something very different than money. They could be after your personal information too. So yeah, you want to avoid clicking things, and especially in text message, it can be really easy to think like, oh, I'll just click the link, right?
Yeah,
and because you're so used to, there's a lot of, you might get text messages from all sorts of organizations that you meant to get text messages from, right? You might sign up for text messages from your like favorite clothing company. I do. So, and those ones, but the thing is, I signed up for it. I'm expecting that. And so you want to be really careful, especially with a random job text message. I wouldn't click on that link. A lot of like, I have a Google phone, it lets me report spam. I'm assuming Apple has something similar, but you can report it as scam and block it and all the above. I wouldn't click it.
Yeah, I think that's great advice. We have a couple questions coming in on the chat. I don't want to mention specific companies, but I know we have a lot of local companies that contract out through the huge firms such as Aerotech and those kind of companies, especially with all the cybersecurity jobs that we have here in DC. And one of the people in the chat mentioned a couple of these outsourcing employment companies, and she mentioned that she's gone through these sites and there's scams even through these sites.
Wow. Okay. Well, I will say I haven't heard that as much. But honestly, if she's experiencing that, please do report it to bbb.org/scam tracker, because one thing I will say is that scams are unbelievably underreported. So I just want to put a plug for that. But also, I mean, I can imagine that that's true. Maybe they don't even know it's possible that
Because we have some
putting
really
something out there.
large, part-time employment
They
agencies.
do, and
the agencies that work on the government contracts.
there's a lot of
especially.
a lot of federal contracting in Maryland. That's right. And yeah, so I mean, I think again, it's and that is true that in certain fields, recruiters may reach out to you. So I do want to, if I know in IT, computer science fields, I have friends who are in that, recruiters will reach out to them and let them know about amazing job opportunities. And that's sometimes legitimate. But at the same time, if that does happen and you're in a field where that is common or more accepted, because it's not for the vast majority of people, I think, if I'm looking for a nonprofit job, I'm not going to be getting an email about it most likely. If you're looking for, a job at a supermarket or just any job, you're probably not going to get an email about it. But yeah, in certain specialized fields, you may. And so you definitely want to do your research on who's reaching out to you. Often they will have a LinkedIn. You want to check what company they're with. If you want to double check, you could call that recruitment agency, that staffing agency, find out more about it, because it's just worth it to be careful. But I do understand that can happen in certain industries. Yeah.
For sure. Well, I know in the job classes we do, we talk about getting an informational interview in the field that you're going to.
Yeah,
and that
sure.
could be a question, is this a field where recruiters are going to contact me, or should I be more cautious?
That's a very good point. I think, yeah, it's if you have the opportunity, which is such a great opportunity to have an informational interview in your field, for sure. I think that's a great question. Like, do recruiters reach out in this field? Because some they do, but many they don't. So, or it's less common.
We have a question here about whether are the scammers being caught? Have there been prosecutions and money retrieved? Or I wonder.
They're not caught as much as I would like. I mean, it's tricky. They're not always operating in the United States, for one. They could be operating in another country. For two, they're hiding behind a lot of IP address stuff, technical things, they're hiding. So it can be challenging. Now, I will say, I definitely from time to time see certain actions taken against some scammers who have, had really like large rings, so it does happen from time to time. But unless it's like a big time, like ring, it doesn't always get. Now, what we do often do, and this is why it's so important to report even when you just see it, like we will, for instance, reach out if we can determine that a website is like fraudulent and advertising like an employment scam. Essentially, we can reach out to the domain host, like the website domain host, and report it as a fraudulent website. And domains, so what will happen is like the domain will get shut down. So www.imafakejob.com will be gone. That's obviously not what it would be. It would seem legitimate, but then they'll probably start a new one. But the thing is, like, now it's on the radar, and so now they can get shut down quicker. So they'll go through websites so quickly and just turn them. But that's one thing we can do. And then you can also, if it did occur on the internet, you can report it to, and I can send you this link afterward as well, to the FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center. That's one place. Another place, if it was somehow solicited through the mail, which could happen, but is not as frequent, you could report it to the United States Postal Inspection Service, USPIS. You can report obviously to BBB Scam Tracker. FTC has a great reporting as well for scams, so that helps. But yeah, we do our best to do our due diligence and report what we found, what's reported to us to all these entities. But if we don't know about it, we can't, and so that's the challenge.
Yeah, so everyone use that scam tracker, folks.
You
It
got
sounds
to
like a great
report these
tool.
scams. It's so important.
Yeah. Now, one of our attendees is questioning
Mhm.
how these staff agencies do their posts. And the person is wondering, is it even legal for staffing companies not to post what company is recruiting and what information an applicant might need behind just the broad post that there is a job available? Do they have to provide more information up front?
So I don't think they do. I'm operating off of my, like, I don't have a professional judgment on that, but in my experience, I've been a paralegal and also in my life. And I would see a lot, there's a lot of paralegal listings that don't list the company, but they're reported by a staffing agency. So it can happen that staffing agencies don't list the actual company. They do that for, I don't know what reasons exactly, but I'm sure maybe to protect the privacy of the company, they don't want to post the job elsewhere. I'm not sure about it exactly, but it definitely can happen. But that's why you really do want to do your due diligence. But I think you would start to notice, like, if it was a scam of some sort, like the actual company that you end up applying with, I think you would start to notice those red flags. If they start asking for money up front, if they start asking you for information that doesn't seem like information you should actually give, if it, I think if you're starting to feel your gut feelings like, ooh, this doesn't feel legitimate, I would notify that staffing agency about what's going on also, if that's where the listing was, because I would assume that they take some sort of precautions at that point too. So, yeah.
This has all been such excellent information, and we're really grateful that you did this class for the library. And I will be letting all our attendees know when it's posted online.
For sure.
And any additional links that Samantha provides to me, I will share with you as well. So if there's not any other questions, do you have any other closing remarks, Samantha?
I guess all I'll say, I always put a plug for, if it's too good to be true, it probably is. Just always use your gut when you are looking at these. Don't feel like you have to act now, ever. Don't let someone pressure you into something that you're not ready for. So, and that's true with all scams, but it's true with this one too. So, my final plug.
Yeah, trust your gut.
Trust your gut
cautious.
and trust your gut, but back it up with reliable resources.
Great advice, and you're getting a lot of thank yous here in the chat.
Thank you.
So thank you everyone for joining us, and check out our class listings. As I mentioned, we have a lot of great classes coming up, and I'm going to end this class.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.